1,000 years ago, the tranquil realms were suddenly swallowed by a sea of relentless demonic fire. This catastrophic event was known only as the Crimson Calamity, an entity of pure, unadulterated wrath. Forests burned to ash, oceans boiled away, and the heavens themselves wept under a suffocating red sky. To save the world from total annihilation, the ancient grandmasters of the Heavenly Sword Sect gathered. They sacrificed their very souls, forging a massive barrier of holy ice to seal the demon away. The calamity was chained in the abyss, but the ancient grandmasters left behind a chilling prophecy. The seal was not permanent. One day, the demonic entity would be reborn into a mortal vessel. For 10 centuries, the Heavenly Sword Sect prepared, training generations of warriors in the freezing arts. They became a clan of stoic, emotionless executioners, waiting for the day the red skies returned. The burden of this prophecy fell heavily onto the shoulders of one exceptional, silver-haired prodigy. His name was Shen Wei, the first disciple, and the most lethal weapon the sect had ever forged. He lived strictly by the blade, his heart frozen over, fully prepared to slaughter the prophesied demon. Far below the snowy peaks of the sect, the mortal realm was a chaotic, vibrant world of outcasts. Among them was Li Yu, a rogue illusionist who survived by stealing from corrupt lords and warlords. Where Shen Wei was cold and disciplined, Li Yu was wild, unpredictable, and full of explosive laughter. She danced through the shadows with effortless grace, using razor-sharp, magically enchanted red silk as her weapon. Fate is a cruel writer, and it destined these two polar opposites to cross paths in a ruined temple. Shen Wei was tracking a dark spiritual anomaly, his icy blue sword drawn and ready to strike. Li Yu was simply looking for ancient treasure, completely oblivious to the spiritual danger lurking in the shadows. As they stepped into the main hall simultaneously, their eyes met across the crumbling stone courtyard. Before either could speak, the temple floor violently shattered beneath their feet, plunging them into the darkness. They fell into an ancient, forgotten labyrinth, a massive underground prison teeming with restless, hungry spirits. Shen Wei landed perfectly on his feet, his blade glowing, instantly assessing the deadly subterranean environment. Li Yu crashed into a pile of rubble, complaining loudly about the dust ruining her favorite red outfit. Shen Wei demanded absolute silence, warning her that the labyrinth spirits were drawn to sound and emotion. Li Yu simply rolled her eyes, calling him a boring ice block with a stick entirely too far up his robes. Anime-style banter echoed through the dark halls, their drastically different personalities clashing at every single turn. He criticized her sloppy footwork. She mocked his absurdly formal posture and overly dramatic vocabulary. Yet, as the shadows deepened and the labyrinth twisted, they realized they had no choice but to cooperate. A horde of glowing blue phantoms suddenly erupted from the cavern walls, screeching with terrifying hunger. Shen Wei unleashed a flurry of freezing strikes, turning the front line of spirits into shattered ice. But a massive phantom flanked him from the blind spot, its spectral claws inches from his neck. In a flash of crimson, Li Yu's red silk wrapped tightly around the phantom, violently yanking it backward. She flashed Shen Wei a cheeky, arrogant wink. "You owe me for that one, Ice Block." For the first time in his rigid, disciplined life, Shen Wei was completely caught off guard. They fought back to back, a stunning, perfectly synchronized dance of freezing blue steel and swirling red silk. After hours of relentless combat, the spirits finally retreated, leaving the two warriors exhausted and bruised. They found a small, glowing cavern illuminated by a sliver of moonlight piercing through the ceiling above. Li Yu immediately sparked a small campfire, humming a cheerful tune as if they weren't trapped in a tomb. She tossed Shen Wei a warm, steamed bun she had hidden in her robes, smiling brightly at him. Shen Wei caught it, staring at the warm food, completely unaccustomed to such casual, unconditional kindness. He looked at Li Yu, her face glowing in the firelight, and the thick ice around his heart finally cracked. A very faint, quiet smile touched his lips, revealing the profoundly gentle protector beneath his armor. Li Yu's breath caught in her throat. She suddenly realized how breathtakingly handsome the stoic swordsman truly was. For a long, quiet moment, they just looked at each other, an unspoken electric connection passing between them. The dangerous labyrinth, their completely different worlds, and the heavy burdens of their pasts all faded away.
But the universe rarely allows peace for long, and the shadows of the cavern were suddenly moving. A gargantuan mutated spirit beast burst from the rocky floor, roaring with an earth-shattering, terrifying fury. Shen Wei moved to intercept, but his legs gave out from the sheer exhaustion of the previous battles. The beast brought its massive, jagged claws down in a devastating arc meant to crush him instantly. Without hesitation, Li Yu threw herself in front of him, taking the brutal, tearing slash across her shoulder. Her blood hit the cavern floor as she collapsed, screaming in agony as the beast was finally banished. Absolute panic seized Shen Wei's chest. He dropped to his knees, catching her fragile, bleeding body. "Hold on," he pleaded, his voice cracking with unprecedented emotion as his hands glowed with pure blue magic. He pressed his hands to her torn shoulder, desperately channeling his sacred healing arts into her wound. But the moment his holy magic touched her blood, the spell violently rejected him with a horrific hiss. A blinding, pulsating red light erupted from Li Yu's skin, pushing Shen Wei's hands away with incredible force. Beneath the torn fabric of her dress, an intricate, glowing crimson crest aggressively burned itself into her flesh. Shen Wei stumbled backward in paralyzing horror, recognizing the ancient mark of the demon he must execute. His icy blade instantly found her throat as she stared back in innocent, terrified confusion.